So we welcome you all to the session of preventive measures and causes of COVID-19 organized by HDFC Bank. During this pandemic, we have the right person to give us more clarity on the situation. So we welcome Dr. Nandini. Dr. Nandini has been involved in fighting active COVID cases and tracing out the past 2 years. And doctor has been awarded the best medical officer in COVID management by Greater Corporation of Chennai. And doctor has completed certificate courses in COVID-19 awareness and management from Medvarsity and Apollo Education and Research Foundations. So welcome, doctor. Welcome to Doences, and hope we have a great session with you. And also, we also welcome Mr. Sri Kumar Shekhar, who is a CSRM head of HDFC Bank. So, Mr. Shekhar, if you could say a few words.
Yeah. Thanks, Rahul. Good afternoon, all. This is Sri Kumar from HDFC Bank. I head the corporate salary division for Chennai. Since your corporate is being handled by Mr. Ravindran, not able to be part of this session, so I am just taking over this introduction. So first, I thank Rahul and team for giving us this opportunity, and being currently in terms of this COVID situation, we feel that safety is the critical parameter which we want to share with all the customers of our bank. And we, HDFC Bank, is one of a major banker partner for your corporate. So we are very, good to conduct this session. And I just want to give you some 2-3 messages during this lockdown. All HDFC branches, we are operating from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is for in terms of any critical requirement. Yes, the branches are functioning. And we, as I told you, Ravindran is the corporate relationship manager assigned to your corporate. He, in terms of, can be connected virtually over phone or email. Of course, any assistance for your banking needs, I suggest you please take the contact details from Rahul. So please take Ravindran's contact, and you can please get in touch with him for getting all your needs. So I once again, conclude this, introduction that safety is the first, point which we want to illustrate. And I'm just handing over the session to Dr. Nandini to take it forward. Yeah, thanks all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Hi, this is Dr. Nandini. So, as said, I'm a medical officer. So we deal in primary healthcare. So I'll share the presentation I have with me. So as you all know, how it all started from China, and this COVID-19 has been ruling for the past 1 year, and almost 80% of us would have suffered, like not by ourselves, at least some of our relative friends, someone would have suffered. So we have. This is a mild briefing session, small briefing session about this COVID-19 infection and how to manage it, how to come out of this pathetic state. So as you all know, it started in China and traveled to different parts of the world. So what are all the modes of transmission for this COVID virus? It has got 3 modes of transmission. One is fomite, droplet, and the third one is aerosol. So the droplet infection, this plays a major role in spread. So this droplet is something bigger than the aerosol. That the particle will be somewhat bigger than the aerosol. So what happens is when you cough or sneeze, this bigger particles can straight away go into the eyes or nose of the one standing opposite to you. They can easily inhale the particles and get contracted with the infection. This is how the droplet spread is. And aerosol spread, this is comparatively less compared to this droplet infection. This aerosol spread is comparatively less because this gets suspended. These are the tiny particles which gets suspended in air, and it remains there for some time. So you can contract infection only in poorly ventilated spaces and all that. You can get contracted with this aerosol infection. And one more thing is fomite infection, which is very, compared to both these droplet and aerosol infection, fomite mode of transmission is comparatively less, where you can easily avoid the situation by simple hand wash and using hand sanitizer. So these are the modes of spread I wanted to tell you all, which can easily be protected which you can easily protect yourself from by wearing a mask or a goggle or staying indoors. You can easily prevent all these infections. So, and now coming on to the topic per se. So, why this second wave? Like as you all know, it started in March and it peaked by September, and then the cases were going down, and we almost thought of closing all these screening centers and swab collection centers. But suddenly there was a surge in cases by the middle of Feb, and middle of end of Feb and the middle of March. We thought of even we never knew that we will get so many cases. So what could be the cause? Might be because of this election campaign, religious gatherings, and our negligence to use masks, government's negligence in relaxation of rules, whatever it may be. But we are now in a very bad state, and we have to come out of this very soon. So. And the most important culprit of this second wave is this new double mutant. So initial wave, the initial COVID infection, which was there in the previous year, it was very subtle and it didn't have too much of death toll or too much of infectious rate. But this new double mutant, which is a slight variant of the previous one. So what happens is, this is the diagram I have shown here is the structure of this COVID virus. Am I audible to all?
Nandini, Sri Kumar from HDFC. That presentation we are not able to view.
You're not able to see?
Yes.
No, I could see. I could see.
I could see.
I could see.
See.
I can see it. I'm able to see.
You're able to see?
Yeah, we are able
Yes,
to
we
see.
are able to see.
We can hear you also clearly.
Yeah.
We can continue. It's good.
Yeah. So, so as you all can see here, there is a picture of this COVID virus. So it contains two types of a protein. One is a spike protein. And another one is membrane protein. So what happened in this new double mutant is that the spike protein got mutated and it formed a new morphology, which is very virulent compared to the previous one. It is highly virulent, and also the mode of transmission and infectious rate is also high for this type of this new double mutant. So in this case, as what happens is, the symptom severity is very much more compared to the previous one. In old cases, we used to have very minimal symptoms like fever, cough, any flu-like symptoms, or we call it as flu-like symptoms, and we had all those in the previous year. But in this new double mutant strain, what we are facing is a lot of new symptoms and complications are coming up with this new double mutant. So I wanted to brief you about this new double mutant, what we are going through because of this new double mutant. And this double mutant has a unique feature of surpassing our immunity. The previous one was very shy. It couldn't break our immune system, but this can easily break our immune system. That is why we are a lot of younger people are getting contracted and getting infected by this new double mutant. So I wanted to show a comparison between this new and old one. So this old strain, there was very less transmission. Like out of 25 who are exposed, only 10 or 5 would get infected. But in this new strain, if 25 are getting exposed, almost 15 to 20 are getting infected. That much high of transmission we are seeing now. And the infection rate is also high because this new mutant is very much infectious, and it is a highly virulent, and it can easily surpass our immune system, as I said earlier. So it has very high infection rate. That is why we are having a lot of people getting infected with this virus and getting admitted even in the hospitals, which was not there in the previous one. And the death rate, as you all know, every day we are listening to news, a lot of death news we are hearing from our close ones. So death rate is also high. That is because of the virulence of this virus. So initially in the previous one, we had very less death rate, only in hundreds we had, but now almost according to today's status, it is almost 2 lakhs of people have died out of this COVID-19 infection. One more important thing we have to notice here is children are getting affected in this new mutant strain, which is not there in the old one. Children used to get infected, but they won't show any symptoms. They remain asymptomatic in the previous one, but here children, more number of pediatric cases we are seeing in day-to-day patient care point of view. We are seeing day-to-day lot of pediatric cases in our OPs. So that is one thing which is to be noted seriously in this new virus. And the complication is same as that of in older age group only. The old one also targeted the older age group. Here also it is targeting the older age group. But the one more thing is younger generation are also getting affected, which was not there in the older COVID virus. So this is comparatively infectious. So it is infecting the younger generation also, who have very high, very good immunity. So that is one thing. And most important thing which you all have to know is the symptoms. So what we notice is in new mutant, lot of different symptoms. The patients are coming up with different symptoms. So in older one, it used to be only flu-like symptoms like fever, cough, sore throat, very rare cases of diarrhea, and one or two cases of vomiting we used to see. And loss of smell and loss of taste was particular feature of this COVID virus in old version. In this new version, this loss of smell and loss of taste is comparatively less, and a lot of people are coming up with symptoms like fever, cough, sore throat, vomiting, diarrhea, and a unique symptom of headache. Lot of people who I encounter with, lot of people come up with the symptom of a headache, which is not to be taken as such, because it's very important symptom, because there will be dehydration in these type of cases, and they may even collapse. So this is most important thing. And some sort of people even come straight away with breathlessness. The first initial symptom will be fever. The next symptom will be breathlessness, which is even more dangerous. So that kind of people should always be careful and get reported to the nearby hospital very soon. You have to you report yourself to the nearby hospital and get treated. So, and the progression is also very fast in this new strain. Old strain gave us some time to breathe, but this new strain is very much fast. So first day they come with fever, second day cough, sore throat, and all those develops. And the third or fourth day, they develop breathlessness and end up in the hospital. So that is why we are facing so many issues like oxygen scarcity in oxygen beds, ventilators, and all that. Because this was not something planned. Because what we planned was something like flu-like virus, but this is entirely different. This new mutant is actually killing people. So not to threaten, but that is the current scenario. So I'm here to break you some myths regarding this COVID. So a lot of people had a lot of wrong notions about this COVID. First and foremost thing is this vitamin and mineral supplements. Vitamins and minerals are nowhere going to cure you from COVID-19. They will only boost your immunity. That will not at all cure your COVID-19. So if you're taking vitamins and mineral supplements, it is well and good. It will have some immunity for you, but it can't guarantee you that you won't get COVID-19, or you won't you will come out of COVID-19 if infected. So that is one thing. And one more thing, recently we have found that ivermectin is not at all helping in COVID-19. Even previously we found out that hydroxychloroquine has no role in COVID-19 treatment. So likewise, ivermectin is also not at all involved in COVID, has no benefits in COVID-19 treatment. It is just a placebo. So one more thing is, while exercising, we have to we should not use mask. So I was constantly saying that mask usage is very much important, but in this point, while you exercising and doing something strenuous, you need not wear mask, because it will the mask. First thing is the mask will get dampened. One more thing is it won't allow you to take good breath. So that will cause CO2 retention, which will make you breathless, and you may even collapse due to syncope. So do not wear mask during exercise. You can maintain social distancing while doing exercise. Okay, so that is one thing. And one more important thing, lot of people ask me, so by how, by like for if we use continuously 8 hours mask for 8 hours, what will happen? Won't I get run out of oxygen and all that? That is all not at all the fact. The fact is, so we enter into the PHC by 8 o'clock in the morning. We wear a N95 mask, which is so. This N95 mask we wear on top of, sorry, first we wear a triple layer mask. On top of that, we wear this N95 mask. On top of that, we wear a face shield also covered by PPE and all that. By the end of the day, if you check my oxygen, it will be same as that of the on the starting of the day. So there is no difference in that. So this will not cause any CO2 retention or oxygen deficiency. So you can very well use mask throughout the day. That is not at all a problem. And one more thing, please do not get, don't be panicked about the situation. Most of the people who contract infection, they very well recover from it. Only 10% are getting into the complication. So please don't get panicked. And also one more thing is, once you feel stressed out of this thing, you feel so much, if you feel like you are so under so much pressure because of this COVID-19, it may in turn increase your what to say, it can actually deteriorate your health. So please be aware that COVID-19 infection is just like any other flu-like illness, but one thing is, you have to be cautious with it. That is one thing. And most important thing, drinking alcohol will never help you from getting rid of this COVID-19 infection. So some people ask me if we all your sanitizer and all that have this alcohol content in it. So why can't we drink alcohol, ingest alcohol, and get rid of this COVID-19 infection? It is not at all the case. So that is nowhere going to help you from COVID-19 infection. It is actually dangerous, and it can get you addicted. So one more thing, this I see a lot of people are following this, adding pepper to your soup, taking a lot of spicy diets, and taking a lot of adding a lot of spices, herbs in your diet. It will not prevent or cure COVID-19 infection. It can actually cause gastritis. So be aware that spicy diets or pepper soups will not help in COVID-19 infection. And also the steam inhalation. Steam inhalation is nowhere going to help you daily. If you go on taking steam inhalation, it can actually damage your nasal sensory receptors in your nose, which acts as a barrier actually in infection thing. So please do not inhale steam daily. So only if you have some nasal congestion or cough or cold or something like that, you can take steam inhalation for relief. Otherwise, you do not need to take the steam inhalation daily. So that is one thing. And as I said earlier, transmission is only through the three means, that is fomite, aerosols, and droplet infection. Otherwise, these houseflies or mosquitoes are nowhere going to spread the disease. And lot of rumors like 5G mobile networks are spreading this COVID-19. It is not like that. Studies have been conducted, and it has proven that 5G mobiles are not at all involved in this. It has no role in COVID-19 spread. So that is one thing. And extreme hot temperature or extreme cold temperature, you need 100 degrees Celsius to eradicate the virus, not some 25 degrees Celsius, which I have projected here. So exposing yourself under sunlight is nowhere going to help you from getting rid of this virus. So that is one thing. And one more thing is, if someone in your flats or in your apartment place is getting infected with COVID-19, please treat them when they come back after 14 days of infection. Please treat them normally, because they won't carry the infection for lifelong. So please treat them normally. They are not going to spread that infection after 14 days, because the virus can remain in the body only for 10 to 12 days. After that, they will be avirulent. So please know that and treat them wisely. And one more thing I wanted to tell about the spread is, so if someone have persistent symptoms, even after 14 days, if they have cough, cold or something like that, they should they can be infectious because the symptoms would not have gone. If the symptoms is persisting, so please ask them to go and consult a doctor, physician, or you can ask them to get a CT done. So that is one thing. And extreme cold weather can also not kill the COVID-19 virus. So this is all I wanted to know, tell you about the myths. I wanted to break all these myths to you. And one more thing, this garlic, you can have concoctions, like you can have this Kavasura Kudineer and all, but once in a while it's okay. But every day, if you take all this, it will have negative effects. It has some side effects, like this Kavasura Kudineer can cause you gastritis if you take in a longer run, and also some female patients can have menstrual problems. So that is with this Kavasura Kudineer and all those concoctions related Ayurvedic products. And primordial prevention, this is the most important topic in our webinar, because like I strongly believe, as a primary healthcare representative, I strongly believe in this primordial prevention. By this, we can break the chain and we can very well come out of this pathetic state. Because once you follow these 5 steps, we can actually prevent the spread of infection. We can actually save millions of people out there. We need not have all these issues like oxygen scarcity, ventilator, bed scarcity. All this will not be there if we follow these 5 steps and prevent the infection and break the chain. This can actually help us from getting rid of this infection. First thing is proper usage of mask. So by the middle of January, I even saw people coming to my primary health center, which is the hot spot, and which is a hot spot in our town, Mugaper. We had loads of cases when in the first wave. So people actually came without mask in the middle of Jan and all that. I was thinking, how come they are coming to a hospital, not somewhere in a public place? But I saw people coming without mask to a primary health center, and they were questioning me, what is the use in wearing mask? It has no role in COVID-19 infection. And I think all of them got their answers. That simple mask prevented us from getting infected for the past 1 year. And the social distancing, social distancing is actually important, but no one followed it, even in the previous wave and also in this wave. I haven't seen people following strict social distance. Social distancing is something which need to be done from the government side, as well as we also have the responsibility as individual. It is always our responsibility to keep ourselves healthy. So not to blame the government or the health sector or whoever it is. First thing is, we have to stay healthy. We have to have a better approach to this pandemic. So everything starts from ourselves. Okay. So social distancing is very much important in primordial prevention. If you stay indoors, you can actually save yourself and also a lot of old people out there from getting infected. So that is one thing. So the strict lockdown and all that can help this spread of COVID-19 infection. And disinfection in office setups, you may need this disinfection every day. Before starting the session, you can ask someone to disinfect the floor, and then you can start working if needed. Otherwise, I would suggest please work from home, because that can actually help a lot of people. That is about disinfection and hand hygiene. Every 1 hour, please wash your hands. Follow the steps of hand wash projected everywhere. Please wash your hands every 1 hour and use hand sanitizers every 1 hour. If not hand wash, you can use hand sanitizers and wash your hands and sterilize your hands. Okay, and staying indoors and avoiding crowded places are the most important thing, because staying indoors can per se bring down the cases so much. So that these are the 5 points I wanted to stress on, because this can help us to come out of the situation. And I'll give you some tips to improve your immunity in this COVID situation. First thing is taking greens. You can take a lot of drumstick leaves and whatever greens available you can take. vegetables and greens will keep you hydrated, healthy, and all that. So you can take all this. It is actually lot of vegetables have blood purifying capacity. So you can add vegetables, lot of vegetables and greens to your day-to-day food. And mint leaf can help you from help your respiratory system better. So you can take mint leaf at least two days once. You can have mint leaf, mint tea, and all that you can have. And almonds you can have 2 per day. Soak the almond on the previous day and take it as the first thing in the morning. So it can improve immunity. And you can take 5 eggs per week. So boiled egg, you can take whole boiled egg. You can take 5 eggs per week. I'm saying. So at least 1 egg per day. Okay. So that is that. How to enrich your vitamin C stores? Vitamin C is we can have citrus fruits, lemon, orange, and all that will improve your vitamin C level. So you can take all those citrus fruits and all that. Amla also has a lot of vitamin C in it. So please take all this. And fish, meat, chickpeas can improve your protein stores, and also fish has a high vitamin E. So that is also helping in COVID. So take lot of fish, meat, and chickpeas. Okay. So if you're following some diet pattern, most of the diet pattern will have low carb diet only. So protein rich and low carb diet is actually good for COVID. Any kind of infection, if you have protein rich diet, it will actually help you, because low carbohydrate. If you have high carbohydrate diet, the glucose in turn can increase the rate of infection in your body. So it is good to have a protein rich and low carbohydrate diet, and take curd every day. So in your daily meal, you can take curd at least once in a day. You can take curd, preferably afternoon. You can take curd. So it will have your gut system. It can maintain your gut system properly. So please take it. So that is about the foods that can improve your immunity. And what are all the things that you have to do in case of contact with COVID positive? So a lot of people have this fear that once exposed to COVID positive, we will turn COVID positive. It is not the case, because every day I'm seeing at least 10 to 20 patients of COVID cases every day. So I'm getting exposed every day, but I'm not developing COVID, touch wood. So in case of contact with COVID positive case, please do not panic. It is not once exposed, you first have it in your mind. You will you will contract the infection only 10% from them. So please do not panic. So all exposed will not get infected. That is one thing that you have to remember. And you can once, if you know that your friend is COVID positive, or your known member is COVID positive, whom you talked few days before or day before, you start taking zinc or multivitamins, which can actually improve the immunity. So that can help you to improve your immune system. That is all you want to do. Nothing else needed. So what if you have become COVID positive? Then also I'll say, please do not panic. Most of the infections are mild. Most of them have symptoms: fever, sore throat, cough, and all that, and they will not have major effect on you. So please do not panic, because panicking can deteriorate your health and worsen your COVID-19 infection, which recently we have come to know that even in ICU, patients who had strong willpower and strong mindset came out of this infection very easily. And those even with younger generation with good immunity, but was very weak in mind was couldn't withstand this infection. So please do not panic. So, and one more thing is, do not rush to hospital for everything. First, initially, if you have tested COVID positive, consult a physician online, or by teleconsultations. You can get consulted to your physician and take medications at home itself. Do not rush to a hospital. Some volunteer will be appointed by you to you by government, so they will help you better. So do not panic and run to the hospitals and first sit and think what all symptoms you have. If you have breathlessness, then it is well and good. You have to contact some hospital, but otherwise not needed. Only if you have fever and breathlessness and fever is not at all coming down, then you can contact the hospitals. Otherwise, all you need is flu-like treatment only. So always have the saturation probe with you at home. Please try to buy, or you can arrange from some nearby house also. You can get and have it with you. If you have saturation probe, it is actually easily manageable, because if you check your oxygen saturation every day, it will be easy for us. If your saturation comes down, we will shift you to COVID care center or something. Otherwise, you can very well sit at home and get this all symptoms. Your symptoms will come down in next days itself. So this is the guidelines we follow at GCC, at Greater Chennai Corporation. We follow these guidelines to actually categorize people. So I'll, one second. Is this clear actually? Is this clear? Is this the one what I
Yes, yes, doctor.
Very
Yeah.
small font.
So once if you are COVID positive, or you have symptoms like COVID positive, even if you have taken vaccine or not, that is not at all the case. So you can even have two shots of vaccine, but still get infected. So for everyone, the symptom for everyone, the treatment criteria is the same. So once you have saturation more than 94, that is more than 94 SpO2, and respiratory rate is normal, you have normal breath, like even before infection, how you had breathing, the same breath you have respiratory rate. So you can very well sit at home. What we do is we give them a packet from government side. We give them a packet of we call it as a home quarantine kit, which has medicines like vitamin C, zinc, and paracetamol. So as projected here, so we give this for home quarantine people. We give this for people who are under home quarantine. So these are the three medications we use for them to treat them. So in case the saturation has come down, in case if the saturation has come down to 93, 92%, then you please call 104. For any help, please call 104. If you have persistent fever, if you have persistent cough, breathlessness, or something like that, please call 104 and ask them to inform to your nearby primary health center or screening center. Or in case of private practice, you can straight away teleconsult with your doctor, and you can do the do the needful. Okay, they can do you whatever needed. So second category is someone who have saturation between 90 to 94. So for them, what we are doing is we are admitting them in a COVID care center or a primary health center, where they check their blood parameters. We initially take them to the screening center. We check the blood parameters, CBC, CRP, and all that, and then we put them under O2 support. We start antibiotics for them, and we usually ask them to practice prone position. Prone position is something which helps us to come out of this COVID-19 infection. What happens in prone position is, once you lie down with your chest facing the bed, what happens is the posterior portion of your lung can expand properly, and oxygen circulation can improve if you practice proning. So that we actually prescribe for patients, that we actually advise for patients 4 to 8 times a day. So 2 to 4 hours of proning. So we do this, and we have good results out of this. So that is one thing. And if needed, we start steroids. So these are all the things we practice if the saturation is between 90 to 94. Unless otherwise, you won't need steroid, remdesivir, or whatever it is. for mild symptoms, please do not use all these steroid medications and all that, which can actually cause mucormycosis, which is deadly, which is even more deadly than this COVID-19 infection. So please consult your physician or primary healthcare which is nearby you and treat it accordingly. So more than if the saturation is less than 90, please get admitted in a hospital. So before taking you to the hospital, they'll put you in a COVID care center where they can initiate oxygen support to you, and then they'll transport you to the higher centers like KMC or in private cases, you can straight away go to the hospitals. So this is the scenario we are having here, because by following all this, we can actually prevent a lot of people who are waiting there for beds in hospitals. This can actually stop the congestion there, and we can treat better. So these are the guidelines we're following right now. And this is what I would like to emphasize. Stepwise, what all need to be done, I'll tell here. So first, know that where is your primary health center, or is there a person coming to your house day to day? If there is someone coming to your house and checking on you day to day, you can very well report to them that if you have any symptoms, or if you have persistent fever and all that, you can call them and tell them. You please get their number and have it with you. In case of emergencies, you can call them. They are volunteers appointed from government side to you for help. So that is one thing. And you can even call 104 helpline for any sort of help from Greater Chennai Corporation. And first thing, please do not come out of your house if you're tested positive. It will actually not only prevent complications to you, but also it can actually prevent a lot of people getting exposed to you. So please do not come out of your house. If whatever needed, please manage through phone. And government will allot a volunteer who will come to your house daily. They'll check your temperature and saturation. Even now we are even engaging our staff nurse and ANMs daily they are coming house. They are doing house visits to COVID positive patients, and they are actually teleconsulting with us. If there is any emergencies, we are shifting the patients to screening center or COVID care center. So that is what the situation going on. So that is one thing. And please do not do this CT. Everyone I'm seeing, they are not even doing the swab test. They are straight away doing CT. CT actually, one thing is that it has high radiation. That is one thing. And a lot of people get contracted to this infection because a lot of COVID-19 people are doing CT. The same closed face, which cannot be disinfected very nicely, will put you under risk of getting COVID-19 infection if you're COVID, if you have not contracted the infection before. So please do not do this, do CT unnecessarily without physician consult. Please do not do it. And you can you will be sent to a screening center in case of any problems. Then they'll do an X-ray. That is very much enough. Unnecessarily do not expose yourself to radiation or infections. So that is one thing. And doing CT before 7th day will nowhere help you in COVID-19 infection. It won't give you a good picture of your lungs. So please do not do CT unnecessarily. So that is one thing. And once you have been sent to the screening center, they will check your blood parameters. So what we check is complete blood count, this CRP level, and CBC, CRP, D-dimer, and LDH is what we check. These four give us these four are related to prognosis. So according to this, we shift the patients to COVID care center or to home, back to home. So that is what we practice here. And in case of comorbidities, please take your tablets which you used to take for blood sugars or hypertension. You can continue the tablets, and please have some extra care. So you can report yourself because you have some comorbid conditions. Please do not risk. You can report yourself to a screening center, get the initial parameters, blood parameters, and X-ray done, and you can come back home safely. So that is one thing. And it is always your opinion to continue in a government or private setup. So no one can have the right to change your decision. So that is one thing about the guidelines. And immunization. So this is something which can actually help us a lot from getting out of this pandemic, pathetic pandemic situation. So we have two types of vaccine as of now. One is Covishield and another one is Covaxin. Covaxin is relatively less in stock, less numbers. We have less number of stock in Covaxin, but Covishield we have good amount of stock. So this Covishield, we have revised criteria. We have they have revised it almost twice. So first dose you can take on the, if you're taking first dose on 18th of this, or if you're taking first dose today, you have to take the second dose some 3 months later only. 12 to 16 weeks is the criteria for Covishield vaccination. So the duration between two doses should be 12 weeks. And Covaxin, you can get vaccinated today, and after 28 days, you can get the second shot done. And yeah.
யார் சொன்னா அட்டாச்சி முடிச்சிருக்க சொன்னாங்களா?
So that is about the duration thing. And any doubts regarding COVID vaccination, you can ask me in question and answer session. And a lot of rumors are going on about this Covishield and Covaxin injections. So any type of medicine or vaccine will have side effects. So very minimal side effects it will have. So 1 out of million will have deleterious side effects, but deleterious side effects. But otherwise, it is actually good. Most of them will come to me. We vaccinate 500 people per day, and most of them are sound in their health. No, we didn't encounter any problem with them. So please get vaccinated as far as possible. And side effects are very minimal. One day you will have fever, 1 or 2 days you will have fever, and the next day you can carry on with your day-to-day life. So that is one thing I wanted to stress about immunization. And if you have any drug allergy and all that, only 3 contraindications we have for this vaccine. One is drug allergies like sulfa allergy and all that. Please avoid this. And pregnancy and lactation is something which in which we can't vaccinate them because we don't have study trials for that. And one more thing is this: if you got vaccinated with some other vaccine like TT or anti-rabies vaccination or all that, if you have taken before 14 days of this vaccine, you can't take this vaccine. You have to wait for 1 month. So the period between two vaccines should be, any kind of vaccine should be 1 month. So have that in mind. So this is our only trump card. So please use it wisely. So one more thing, please everyone, please listen to these 5 points, because this is actually the most important thing of this seminar. So don't repeatedly listen to the news about this COVID-19 virus or infection, because it can actually have a negative impact on you. Please do not look out for this death toll. It is not our job. We can health sector is there, government is there, they'll take care of it. Please you please stay away from all this death toll and waiting for bed and all that, all these repeated news. Please do not listen to all that, because that will have a negative impact. I have seen people who have gone through all this. So I'm personally saying, please do not take it into your mind. This pandemic, like any other pandemic, will reduce, and we will come out of it in a safe manner. So please don't get negatively impacted by all these news and all that. So don't look for additional information in internet also. So please sit back at home, relax, enjoy to some good music, watch some good movies, maintain hand hygiene at home, have a positive mood. That is all needed in this COVID pandemic. So all we ask you is, please sit back and relax. We won't get this again. So we won't get this opportunity again. Please spend some quality time with your family. That is all needed. Okay? Yeah, so I'm ending my seminar here. So if any doubts, you can ask me.
Yeah, thank you, doctor. Thank you. So guys, if we could start with the Q&A. You have your questions, you can ask doctor, and she will answer your questions.
Hi Nandini, good evening. This is Vijay.
Yeah.
It's a nice session, Nandini. First of all, thanks for you.
Thank you.
So, what is the post-COVID precautionary steps to be followed?
Only thing is you have to improve your diet, stay hydrated, lot of fluids. You have to take lot of fluids because post COVID you will have lot of body aches and all that. Some will have severe headache, myalgia, or the symptoms we are facing today, and that can be sorted out by simple techniques like rehydration. You can have this electrol powder with you if you're not diabetic. You can take electrol every day. You can have a sachet of electrol mixed in 1 liter of water, and you can take it. So that can improve your hydration. And in case of extreme body pain, extreme myalgia, you can take this painkillers like NSAIDs. You can take paracetamol. Simple paracetamol will help you in post-COVID state. Eat healthy foods.
Okay. And any restrictions if you affected with COVID and you come out of normal from the COVID, can we go out for essential things to buy? And
If very much needed, you can go out. Please sort out you please plan your day-to-day activities like for 2 days once it is okay to go out and get your groceries done, but otherwise it's good to stay indoors.
okay. And also this vaccination, if
Yeah.
people gets affected with COVID and come from normal, is there any duration to get the vaccination?
Yeah. That is I wanted to tell. So initially, what guidelines we used was once if you have got COVID-19, if you had COVID-19 infection, you can get vaccinated after 1 month of COVID-19 infection. But now they have revised it to 3 months. So once you have got infection, 3 months after 3 months you can wait for 3 months and get vaccinated.
Okay. Fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
Is the vaccination must for the affected people? Because already I think it's like vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
Your antibodies will get generated.
Yeah, that's what. The thing is, you can't depend on your. We can't ensure that everyone has good amount of antibodies after COVID-19 infection. Some may have weaning of this antibodies. Weaning effect may be there even after 1 month also. So it is good to get them vaccinated within 3 months of infection. So after 3 months, most probably your immunity may not be that good.
Okay.
Antibodies level will not be that good.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, Nandini,
this is Asif here. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Vijay.
Sorry, Asif.
Yeah.
Also, Nandini, I heard some recent news about black fungal.
Yeah, mucormycosis that which I told you earlier.
How far it is true, Nandini?
It is actually true because what is that is so in all these oxygen cylinders and already we are using all these steroids and all that. So your immunity, you will be in an immunocompromised state. On top of that, if we use this liberal oxygen for all of them, high chances of getting infected with mucormycosis is possible, which is actually deadly. So studies are coming up. So methylene blue and all that they are telling can prevent getting infected with this mucormycosis, but we're working on it actually.
One of my known person gets black fungal and died within 2-3 days.
Okay.
So that's why I asked you.
Yeah. It is actually there. Mucormycosis is actually there.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Nandini, this is Satish.
Yeah, Satish.
Is there any specific symptoms for this fungal infection?
Pardon?
Is there any specific like symptoms for
No, it
this
is like
infection?
most of them will get in. Most of them who contract this infection will be in either in ICU or under this O2 mask. So most of them will be in a hospital setup. They won't have per se any symptoms, but there will be deterioration of their health. Even in COVID state also there will be deterioration of their health. Breathlessness will be there because mucormycosis also affects lungs only, and some can get affected with this retina, orbits and all that. So vision gets affected. So that is all there in mucormycosis.
Okay, and being a part of NGO, I'm daily getting calls requesting for the medicine amphotericin B. Is that for fungal infection?
it is for fungal infection, but it has to be prescribed by a doctor. And just like that, we cannot give amphotericin B because
most of the medicines won't giving it. They deny it actually.
Yeah, because it has some side effects which needs to be prescribed only by doctor. So in case of only if it is very much needed, they'll use amphotericin B. Otherwise, they can control it. So just like that, everyone cannot buy amphotericin. It is actually having deleterious effect.
Yeah, thank you, Madam.
Yeah.
Doctor, this is Asif here. Firstly, thanks so much for this wonderful session, for a good amount of information there. My question to you is, for COVID affected patients already, my first question was the waiting time. You've already answered that we need to wait for about 3 months. But I was also told that, we will have antibodies in the body and there is some specific tests to be taken. Could you please throw some light on that? Is there any specific
it is
test?
IgM and IgG that we test. The percentage of antibodies in our body will be tested by this IgM and IgG test. And if you have above 80% of antibodies, you need not get vaccinated. But right now, what we are following is everyone cannot go and get tested in this scenario. So what we follow is after 3 months, treat everyone as relatively less. They will all be having less amount of antibodies, so we can actually vaccinate them. That will not harm, cause any harm to them. So we can vaccinate them after 3 months.
Okay, so after 3 months, this IgG and IgM tests are not required.
Not required. Not required. Okay. You can get vaccinated after 3 months.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello, doctor. This is Prasanna.
Yeah, Prasanna. Hi.
Continue with the Asif question. If someone is asymptomatic and without knowing that he is affected with COVID, and if he took the vaccination, what would be the problem?
So most of that is what in the second new double mutant, we don't see a lot of asymptomatic cases. They can actually, if they have any sort of uneasy, they can withhold the vaccine, then they can get vaccinated. If needed, they can test their CRP levels and come and get vaccinated.
Without knowing that someone has taken the vaccination, that's actually he think that's he is fine, and
that can actually cause COVID-19 infection only. That is what it will actually cause COVID-19 infection. So in case of flu-like illness, if you take vaccine in that active phase, it will actually increase your COVID-19 infection.
Oh, okay.
That is what.
Hello, doctor. This is Iman.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time spending with us. Actually, my doubt is, if we have the symptoms like cold and cough, how early we need to consult a doctor, or we need to take a test?
The very first day itself, please consult a doctor. First or second day, please consult your doctor over phone or whatever it is, and start taking tablets, because if you treat your symptoms initially, it won't put you under a bad state. So please get treated initially in your initial stage itself.
Okay, and how we can check that saturation levels?
You can use a simple oxygen probe. You can ask the volunteer who comes to your house every day. They will have that oxygen probe with them, a saturation probe, what we call it as. So they will just connect it to your index finger, and they'll actually monitor all your saturation levels.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nandini, there is one more doubt.
Yeah.
Like, can you share us about the 2DG drug?
What drug?
2DG drug. Like recently.
That is, they are telling that it is helpful in COVID-19, but we still don't have exact guidelines or something. It is still under study, and we don't have much information about it. So probably by next week we'll be receiving information about this 2D2G drugs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening.
Doctor, now this pediatric cases are increasing.
Yeah.
We have infant at home. How do we understand or how do we prevent infants from this? Because we wear mask and we hand wash and all of that. So
Only
how
one
do
thing that you can do in infants and toddlers is you have to be safe. Once you go out for groceries or whatever it is, you come back home. Please do not touch them. Please do not touch your door or anything that is accessible to your kids. And please follow all those hand hygiene protocol, hand hygiene, and you can even take a bath and then come to your child. That is the
Okay,
only thing possible in case of pediatrics, because we can't advise them. We can only prevent from ourselves.
So when you say pediatric, even it starts from the newborn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Doctor, myself, Gopi Krishna.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Like recently, a month back, I got both doses are completed, and after 20 days, I took this antibody test for SARS-CoV-2 and showed like 16.6 AU per ml. Is it a good or it's something like?
It is good actually. You have got 60% of immunity against this COVID infection. But did you take any vaccination before that?
No, madam. This is
So
this is the
actually,
only vaccine.
vaccination can even more improve your this antibodies count.
Okay. Actually, both doses are completed. So
After how many days you took this test?
after I think it's 20 days. After taking the second vaccine, this test was taken care after 20 days.
Okay, please take it after 45 days, because usually it takes 45 days for us to get to a percentage of 80%. So you most probably
Okay.
your immunity will be 80%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
How, Doctor, I have another question.
Yeah.
The caregivers, how when the COVID patients are given care by the other house family members, how many days after the person is affected, the caregiver can incubate the infection? Is there a timeline? How many days we need to
So
monitor?
if you have contracted infection and you're COVID-19 positive, then you can only spread the infection for 10 days. From the day tested, you can spread for 10 more days. Other than after that, you will not be a carrier.
Okay. And these patients are going for review to the hospital. So again, will they catch up infection?
Pardon?
The patients who are affected with COVID, when they go for review, maybe after 2 weeks or 10 days.
No, they will have their immunity. They will have their immunity against this COVID-19 infection. But some are getting reinfected also within 1 month of. It all depends on the immune state of the individual. It all depends on individual's immune state only.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah.
See, after the vaccination of first dose, we had some bad news, regarding after 1 week or 10 days, they have cardiac issues and they expire. Okay, after having the first vaccination. So when taking out the vaccination, we get all negative issues, right? So how does everybody gets cardiac issues recently? Everybody who's getting out.
Good question actually, because a lot of people had this. It's not actually a rumor, but people had problems with this Covishield because it has high tendency of clot formation. So what they did was some people stopped the medicines that they used to take for blood thinners, which they used to take regularly, and had the shot. So what happened is that triggered the blood coagulation factors, and they had minor clots, and hence some people suffered from this cardiac problems. Some people had heart attack and all that. That is all because of the minor clot formed by COVID, this vaccine Covishield. But otherwise, lot of them who had angiostenting who had cardiac bypass surgery, all got their shots, but lot of them didn't have symptoms. Only minor portion of them had all these problems. So the thing is not to stop the blood thinners.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. And say I got my mom and dad vaccinated recently, so they had no fever issues. They had only say heat issues, and say only leg ache. That's all. So is it necessary that when you have your vaccination, the fever is absolute necessary, or what is that actually? So if they show no symptoms,
I can't understand. They
had no fever. They had no fever. They were good for 3 days. They had complete rest.
Okay.
So they had only heat issues. When you have heat, right? When
On the injection spot, they had some temperature rise, right?
No, full body heat.
Full
that's
body
all.
rise in temperature. It is actually a good sign. Fever and rise in temperature, body temperature is actually a good sign that you are responsive to this vaccination.
No, they had no fever, but kind of say inner heat.
That is good. That is actually good.
Okay. Because say when they say
antibodies.
Okay, when they say you have vaccinated, you get temperature, but say when you do not get temperature, everybody gets upright, right? So that's the point.
No, not like that. Some people will have a very good immune state. They won't get fever. They will get only rise in temperature.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nandini, Arun here.
Yeah.
To continue the question like Rahul was asking, so if there are no symptoms after the vaccination, so still we consider that as a good, right? So it is not mandatory that everyone has to get at least one symptom.
Yeah, a lot of people have no symptoms. So especially men will not have more symptoms for this vaccination. They will remain normal actually.
Okay.
So it is not that you don't have, if you have some symptoms, it is good. If you don't have any symptom also, it is good because it all depends on the immunity.
Okay. So my second question would be like, the vaccination is out now and we are already, everyone is going to take care of the vaccination. So the double mutant virus is something new, which we are, everyone is hearing, for the first time. And we never know what will happen in the third wave as well. So my question is like how the medical, they are preparing the vaccine for this, like even the vaccine, all these vaccination plans were arranged or out, few months ago. So will this take care of all this double mutant or whatever it's going to come in the third wave as well?
Actually, yeah. But the thing is, Covaxin has a good effect on this new double mutant compared to Covishield. But Covishield also has some effect on this new double mutant. It's not that Covishield is less effective compared to this Covaxin. But the thing is, that's what Covaxin. Recently, they have made some changes, and in Covishield also they have increased the duration in order to fight this new double mutant. So that is what they are making some changes every time to come out of this new double mutant. It is actually effective. Only thing is, even if you get 2 shots and you are getting, COVID-19 infection, only thing is you won't get complications out of this COVID infection if you have got vaccinated.
Okay,
that is one. That is the only thing. It is not that if you have got 2 shots, you won't get infected. You will get infected, but you won't develop any complication.
Okay. In short, like these 2 vaccines are more enough to get prevented from third wave as well.
I'm not sure about the third wave yet. We are actually planning to prevent the third wave actually by all these vaccination and prevention programs. So this will help us a lot from the third wave. That I'm definitely sure.
Okay. And the last question would be
Doctor?
Yeah, Vidya.
Doctor, actually, I have a doubt. My servant maid has got 2 doses of vaccination, and she still continues to come and do the work. But can she act as a carrier of infection, or do we need to stop her? This is a confusion I have. Both of us at my home, we have not got any vaccine.
No, the fomic transmission can be there. Otherwise, if she gets infected, if she have any symptoms, she can still spread the infection.
Even after the vaccination, you mean to say?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, even after the vaccination, they can spread infection, right? If they touch the same particle touched by some COVID-19 positive patient, they can carry the infection and give it to you. That is what happens. But only thing is, you have to get vaccinated if you want to prevent.
Okay, so I have recently delivered a child, so I think I don't think I can get
Yeah,
vaccinated right now. Okay, so better not to engage any servant maid at home.
You can be careful. That is all you can do.
All right, thank you, doctor.
So, guys, any other more questions you want to ask, doctor?
Hello, doctor. This is Mahendran.
Yeah,
So is there any do and don't for patients with respiratory issues?
Respiratory issues, you can have steam inhalations. If you have breathlessness, please please consult a doctor. That is the first and foremost thing you have to do. And you can take CT on 7th day. And for other and proning, most important is proning. You can do daily 2 hours. You can practice proning.
Yeah, I'm asking about asthma patients and who is having wheezing troubles and all.
Yeah. They also have some effect, but almost everyone is having same kind of effect with this COVID-19 infection, because already they'll be on steroids, so they will have to continue the steroids only. Low dose steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, doctor, this is Dhruv.
Yeah.
Yeah, doctor, I have one small doubt. Like, is COVID airborne?
It is airborne. It is actually airborne. It spreads through droplet and aerosols. Droplet is comparatively bigger in size, and this aerosols are small in size. It gets suspended in air, and you can contract the infection whenever you enter a closed room or stand in front of someone who is sneezing, coughing, or in front of you. Okay.
Okay, doctor.
Yeah.
Hello, doctor. This is.
Yeah.
Yeah, doctor. Last week, my relative came for money purpose, but last Monday he was tested as a COVID positive. Whether we need to worry about it because we have a baby,
So
6-month
it was
baby.
last week, right? It was last week.
Yeah, last Friday he
He
came,
turned
but
COVID positive on.
yesterday he tested. Today the result is positive.
Okay, when he visited you, did he
Symptom
have
from
any
Monday.
symptoms?
No, we don't have any symptom.
No.
But how to?
When he visited you, did he have any symptoms?
At the time, he didn't have any symptoms. But
So
from Monday,
nothing to worry. If you develop any symptoms, if you have any symptoms like fever or sore throat or something like that, you can test yourself. You can take a swab. Otherwise, no need to worry.
for baby, any symptoms are there for?
That's what. Only if there is any symptom, you please get tested. Otherwise, no need to worry, because you're telling like it's almost 1 week. So I don't think by now you would have contracted the infection and developed symptoms. By now, if you have no symptoms, then nothing to worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor, actually, 4-layer mask plus N95 will suffice. Can effectively avoid.
N95 is always better than a surgical mask. Then this triple layer mask, what we call as. So it is always better to have N95 compared to this triple layer mask.
Actually, nowadays they're saying like 2 masks are necessary, right? One surgical mask with 4-layer plus N95 will suffice, right?
Only when you're dealing with COVID patients and all that. Otherwise, simple N95 mask or either this even triple layer mask will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Nandini, this is Vijay again. Sorry.
Yeah.
If any of your family member got affected with COVID, is it mandatorily rest of your family members has to go with the COVID test?
It is not actually necessary, because if someone is asymptomatic, you can leave them. If they develop symptoms, that's what I'm saying. Always, if you have symptoms, please test. Do not risk, please test. If you don't have any symptoms, you can just isolate yourself from them, and you can remain in room. You can take zinc and multivitamins. That's all.
Also, this RDP rate, right? The 2025 is coming, right?
Yeah.
How infectious is that?
No. See, that actually a lot of people have this doubt. This RT-PCR count will not. It is actually not the prognostic criteria. We actually depend on the CT score and CRP score and all that. So RT-PCR, if it shows highly infectious, it is just that the swab is highly infectious. The swab had high viral load in it. Other than that, it has nothing to do with progression of the disease.
Do you have that criteria? Which is
yeah, I will have that. I can mail you with this current presentation.
Fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Can we? Yeah.
Sure. So, guys, I think you have asked all your doubts. So, would actually say thank you, doctor. Thank you for helping us with some healthy information of COVID-19 and be creating an awareness. And in behalf of
Yeah, it's my pleasure actually, because it's actually good to give health talk to a lot of people, because a lot of people will get will get enlightened by this. So by some small help from my side, that's
Sure. No problem. In behalf of all doyences, we thank you and salute you and all the doctors and nurses and all frontline workers who are helping out all to fight against the COVID-19, right? So it's kind of a teamwork you guys are all doing. So a great thank you to you all, and thank you for so much conducting this session. Thank you. So thank you guys. Thank you for attending this session, and thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
And thank you
for your
Sure.
Thank you,
Thank you
doctor.
to Sri Kumar. Thank you to Sri Kumar from HDFC Bank to conducting this session. So very good of you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.